economy, most Americans are doing whatever they can to keep a little money in their pockets. One method that most people don't normally think about saving the economy would be recycling. Most people think of it as, I'm going to throw my plastics and my bottles and my newspapers into a separate bin and I'm going to save the planet. But actually, it is a source of income, and it is also a source of jobs and energy efficiency. So, that being said, the process of recycling is actually very involved, and whereas people recycling, putting forth the effort is a major part of it, another critical part will be the government involvement in each program. For instance, San Francisco. 70% of San Francisco's population participates in a recycling program, mostly because that is what the mayor of San Francisco wishes for, and he actually wants the number to increase in the next few years to 75%. But then you have cities like Houston, for example, whose population, 2.4% of the population actually participates in a recycling program because they don't consider it very beneficial, economically or energy efficient or any of that. And unfortunately, the majority of the cities in the United States don't go too much higher than Houston's level because they don't see the benefits as openly as they see some of the drawbacks. Most people consider the fact that the landfills aren't full. They won't be full for several years, and by the time that the 20-year mark rolls around, we could have even more landfills than we do now available to put our waste in. So most people consider recycling as a way to save the landfills, but we don't need to. And on top of that, they consider the fact that it costs money to start a recycling program. So these are some of the drawbacks, but in all actuality, you're going to see that those are insignificant compared to the benefits. So it costs around $8 to $10 million for a major city to start a large recycling program, and this would include the trucks, the bins for over 500,000 inhabitants of the city, as well as the jobs involved in people collecting the items and hauling them to collection sites. Another expenditure that would be caused for starting a major recycling program is a collection site, and most major cities don't start a collection site because it costs roughly $24 million. So they see that as just an expenditure and it's written off. But in actuality, if you start a recycling center and your city participates well, then you are not having to ship all of your recycled items away, so you're not having to pay for the fuel or the manpower to haul all of your recycled materials away. You actually process the materials, and people will come to your city and pay you to have the recycled materials. So really, it would pay for itself in a matter of years, and then you will start seeing the pros of having your own collection site in your city. So it's just the initial expenditure that most people are turned away from, but it actually has very good economic benefits in the long run. And according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency of this year, $100 billion was reported in worldwide revenue because of recycling. And on top of that, just the profit alone, 100 million manufacturing jobs were also created, because if you have these collection sites, you need people to work them, and you need people to drive your vehicles to supply the other cities that are in demand. So, something to think about. And another major benefit to recycling would be the energy efficiency. It takes roughly 23.3 million BTUs for raw materials to be turned into a product. You can cut that in half, actually less than half. It would be 11.3 million BTUs if you use recycled products. And this includes collecting the materials, hauling the materials, processing them, making them into something else, and then turning them out to be used as a product. So it saves a lot of energy if you recycle. And as you can see, obviously people still have their own hang-ups as to why they don't recycle, and it's not that important, and landfills aren't full. But if you think farther ahead, they are a long-term investment. You will create jobs. You will end up, if you invest, if your city invests in a recycling program, it could actually provide more income, and you are safe.